So, how does a single social media post, of all things, about cooking oil manage to send the stock market into a spin and even threaten a major global summit? Well, today, we're going to break down the absolutely bizarre story behind this brand new flashpoint in the trade war.
Okay, so it all kicked off with this post right here on Truth Social. President Trump basically announced he's thinking about shutting down business with China over cooking oil, and he used this very specific word, retribution. That one word, that was all it took to put Wall Street on notice.
And believe me, this wasn't just some online ranting. It had real, immediate financial consequences. The S&P 500, a huge indicator for the U.S. economy, took a nosedive in the final hour of trading. It's a pretty stark reminder of how fast geopolitics can shake up the markets.
But you have to ask, why cooking oil? Seriously, with all the huge, complex trade issues between the U.S. and China, why did this one thing suddenly become the center of attention?
Well, it turns out this threat wasn't random at all.
Nope, it was a direct response.
What we're looking at here is a classic tit-for-tat trade spat. For a while now, Beijing has been refusing to buy American soybeans. The president called that an economically hostile act. So the threat against cooking oil, that was the comeback. A very clear shot fired back in this ongoing economic showdown.
Okay, but this is where the story takes a really strange turn. Because when you hear cooking oil, you're probably picturing, the bottle of canola or olive oil in your kitchen cabinet. The oil at the heart of this international fight, though, it's something totally different.
And this really gets to the core of the whole thing. Is this fight really about the stuff we use to fry an egg? Or is there another, much, much larger trade going on that's been flying completely under the radar?
And here it is. Here's the big twist. The whole dispute isn't about new cooking oil. Not at all. It's about used cooking oil, or UCO. Yeah, it's a waste product that the U.S. has been importing from China in absolutely gigantic quantities.
And that right there, that reveals the real story. This isn't about food at all. It's about fuel. All that used cooking oil from restaurants in China is a key ingredient for making renewable fuels, and the U.S. has become one of its biggest customers.
So why is the U.S. suddenly buying up so much used cooking oil? Well, the answer, kind of ironically, connects back to a major piece of U.S. climate law. It just goes to show you how one policy decision can have all these ripple effects you never see coming.
The key piece of the puzzle is the Inflation Reduction Act, or the IRA. It's this landmark law from the Biden administration that created some pretty big financial incentives to get companies producing more renewable fuels right here in the U.S.
So let's just walk through exactly how this happened. First, the IRA creates these juicy incentives for renewable fuels. Turns out, used cooking oil is a perfect ingredient that qualifies. So, bam, U.S. demand for it just skyrockets. And who has a massive supply? China. So they stepped in to fill the order.
Which brings us right back to today. This really weird trade fight isn't happening in a bubble. It's all unfolding right before some really high-stakes diplomatic talks are supposed to happen. And the timing, wow, the timing could not be more critical.
You really can't make this timing up. It's incredibly dramatic. Just as this whole argument over soybeans and used oil is boiling over, President Trump and China's President Xi Jinping are scheduled to sit down face-to-face in just 2 weeks. That big meeting is slated to happen during the upcoming APEC summit in Korea. That's the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. And get this, despite all the tough talk, officials are saying the meeting is still a go. They've even set a specific time for it. So here's the bottom line. A fight over soybeans led to a threat over cooking oil, which it turns out was really about used cooking oil for fuel, a demand created by a U.S. green energy law. The million-dollar question now is, could something as strange as a fight over recycled restaurant grease actually be enough to derail a critical meeting between two global superpowers? I guess the whole world is about to find out.